guys, I appreciate your subscribing, much appreciated. I am trying to come out with videos every Friday now. And also, if you find this video helpful in any way, please leave a like. And if you have any follow-up questions or comments, please leave them below. Without further ado, so today we're going to do a React form. We're not going to use any packages, just straight up React slash JavaScript. And the reason is, sure, you could use React form, but I think it's good to at least get a grasp of, this is just part of how to understand how React works, and how you can use it. So like I said, we're not going to be using any React form NPM package or anything like that. Just straight up React. The only thing I am going to be using, just to make it a little nicer for you guys, is this thing, bootswatch.com, and you can download um, bootstrap.minify.css, and I just put that in my public folder, and then I went into my index.html and put it in there. And I also cleaned up a bunch of these, all the files. I did create React app through Yarn, because that's the only thing that works for me for some reason. And I just cleaned up all those files. If you want to know how to do that, I will leave a link in the corner to that video right now. So head on over there if you've never done that before. But if you're cool, then let's get into it. So I have this React app here ready to go. So I'm going to delete this. And I'm just going to create a basic form. Let's see. So I'm going to create a form. Okay. And let's see. I'm trying to think how to do it. We're going to do three fields in our form. We're going to say a name field, an email, and a password. Only I'm not going to put the password in a encrypted thing. I'm just going to make it plain text. Normally you should put it in an encrypted situation, but for this we don't need to. So inside this I'm going to create a div. Again, this is just styling. You don't have to do this. Form-group. And by the way, the reason why I was able to do that was because of this plugin, or I'm sorry, not plugin, extension for VS Code, ES7, React Redux GraphQL, React Native snippets. And once you configure it, you can just type div dot whatever you want the class name to be. Okay, and it puts in the class name, not just class. The other one I'm using is Prettier, which formats my code on when I save it. So when I save it, see how it kind of formats it, which is super nice. Label, we're going to say HTML4, we're going to say name. This is just a label, name. Again, this is just structural BS. We're going to say input, colon, I think it's text. Yeah, so if you put input colon text, it gives you all that. Name, we're going to say is name. ID, we don't really need, but I'll put it in there. So I guess I could give it a class name. Class name equals, what the heck is it? I think it's form control, form-control. We're going to add some other stuff to this, but for right now, this is plenty. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to do 2 more times. So I'm going to change everything. So this and this by holding Alt on Mac, Alt on Windows, and then clicking. I'm going to say email. Here, hold Alt, click here, and we're going to delete. I'm going to say email. Same thing here. Click, hold Alt, click, delete. We're going to say password. Same thing here. Click, Alt, click. I'm going to say password. Okay. So we're just creating the form now. Don't get too crazy. We're just creating a form. So naturally, every form needs a button. So, oh, excuse me, my back. Button. Okay. And we need a type of submit. And we're just gonna say submit because we'll say this is a login form. And I'll give it a class name of BTN and oops, BTN. We'll say primary. And these are just Bootstrap classes that you can apply. If you'd like me to do a Bootstrap class tutorial breakdown, please let me know. I'd be glad to. So here's our form. Nothing spectacular, and I'm not going to do anything more except only because it bothers me a little bit. I'm gonna say MB-4 margin bottom 4, which is also a Bootstrap thing. Oh wait, it's got to be right. I'll say just margin. I think it is. I think that's what it is. Yeah, margin. Anyway, so this is our form. Nothing spectacular, but the best part is, of course, in the logic, which is why we're all here today. So now we're doing this directly in the app component. I guess we could do so. Whoops. Sorry, I'll create a new folder called components. Yeah, we should do it the right way. We should also spell it the right way. Components. And then I'll create a file called reactform.js. Okay, and I'm going to say what is it? RAFCE to create a functional component. I'm going to change both to a capital letter. I'm going to come in here and I am going to totally take this out, cut it out, put it into here like that. I'm going to come into here, say import React form from /components/React form, and then I'll put it in here because this is really how it should be done. I was getting lazy. Thank you guys for not allowing me to get lazy. All right, so let's save all. Should be the same thing. I'm going to close app.js. So everything's the same here. Actually, let me open the console. Oops. I like to put it on the right hand side. Console. So invalid. Oh, okay. We got a few things where we got to change the class name. Where the heck is it? Did I miss that? Did I miss a class name? Class name. I like in VS Code. I like to highlight it, and then it highlights all of them. Did I miss? I didn't miss any. What are you talking about? Class name. Index.js. What? Oh, this one should be camel case. Class and name is capital. I missed a few of them here. That's why. Okay. And when you select them with VS Code, it doesn't differentiate. All right, that should go away. Oh, that's why it wasn't working. That's why it was looking a little funky here too. Okay, just gonna change this because I'm anal retentive to capital. All right, so we got our form. Let's leave that alone. I'm tired of that, and I'm sure you guys are too. So for our logic here, we're going to use one thing, and that is use state. And I've talked about this before. This is how we create state. Now, in my previous React form video, and I'll link that at the top, we did const, where we would have done const name, set name, right, and then equals use state, yada yada, and then we would have done const email, set email, right, and so on for every single one of the forms. But Let's not do that. We don't have to do that. So instead, we're going to create one piece of state that has a bunch of key value pairs in it. So first we do const, same way, form, and then we do set form for our function that changes the state. Now, use state, all looks normal. So we're going to open some brackets. I'm going to go on to the next line, and we're going to do name is equal to an empty string, comma, email, excuse me, is empty to an empty string. And what was the other thing? Oh, password is also an empty string. Okay, so that is our state. And actually, let's take it a little bit further. We're going to create something else. Const error is error. We're just going to check. There's a little bit of what do you call it? Form validation. Okay, since I said you wouldn't need any external packages. I'm going to hit enter a couple times just to put the return statement down a little further. Okay, cool. Now, you remember all of them have this name, right? Name, email, and where is it? Name is password, and name is name for name. Name. So, let's see. So now we need to get these values from here as they change, as they live change. Okay, so we're going to come under here, and we're going to do const input change. Okay, we're going to create a function equals. We're going to pass in an event. Now it's not specified at this moment, but we need some sort of event, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, now here's where we use our state function that we create to sort of like this dot set state, except ours is called set form. We created it. Now I'm gonna it's gonna go directly into a function, a single function. Okay, we're gonna add yeah, I can't talk and type at the same time. We're gonna pass in our previous props, anything that was from before, and then we're gonna iterate over those in case there's something that was left behind. We're gonna grab that. Oh, I spelled that wrong. That's why. Props. Yeah. Now shut up. That's not what I wanted. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're gonna dot iterate over. Whoops. Prev props. Okay. Okay, comma. And then we need to get it. So how are we going to do that? So we're going to take our event, our E that we passed in there, our event dot target dot name, because which is this. So whatever you name it, that's what it's going to do. That's what it's going to assign it to. And then we're going to assign it the event dot target dot value. Okay. Value. Okay, I can't type here. So oh, whoops, I'm sorry. This should be, we need another parentheses there. Sorry. That's why it was giving us that issue. So it's an object. We're passing in our previous props, anything from before. This is where we're getting our key, and this is our value from the value of the input field. This is the name, and this is the value of it. Okay, and we're passing it into this function of input change. So, as you may or may not have guessed, we need to do an on change. So whenever this form or this input field changes, we want to run input, geez, can't type, input change. We want to run that, right? Now we're not calling the function, right? So So we're not putting any parentheses here. Otherwise, we'd be calling it. We're just assigning it to here. So actually, I'm going to copy this. You got to put this in each one of your inputs. Okay. Here. Good. Okay. Now we should be able to get that. One more parentheses here. Good. Okay. So let's see. Previous props is not defined. It should be. Oh, I spelled it wrong here too. Sorry, guys. I'm having a bad day. Okay, good. So error, don't worry about these. We're going to deal with that in a little bit. So basically, all the input fields are handled here. Now, we need to do something for our form when somebody submits a form. So we're going to do on submit, which you'll have seen in my previous video. Same thing. We're going to say form submit. That's what the function is going to be called. Okay. So I'm going to create it here. Const form submit equals a fat arrow function or an arrow function. So we also need to pass this an event only because we're going to do an e.prevent default. That just stops the page from refreshing every time. Now, what I like to do is pull out through something called destructuring, which means we pull out the values from an object or an array, actually. So we're going to do const curly braces name email password equals, aka from. So equals is the same as from in destructuring. So I'm going to pull out name, email, and password from our form state, right, which is this up here. We created that, and these are all in there. So I'm just going to pull it out, so it makes it a little easier. Otherwise, you got to type form.name, form.email, etc. This just makes it a little easier. Okay, now here's where our error comes in. We're going to do an if statement. You could do a ternary operator, but I'm just going to do an if statement. So if name, which is this, so if the name submitted is equal to triple equals, compares value and type. So if the name or, we'll say, it doesn't really matter. We'll say or email, this is just for demonstration purposes. You guys can play around with this. Is equal to an empty string. Okay, so if they don't fill out the name in the email portion, we're going to say is error, is error will be true. Okay, and then else it's successful, right? So if they don't put it in, and you could play around with this and you can get really deep into the if statements, like if the password is less than 6 characters, yada yada, but that's beyond the scope of this video. So we're going to say is error. We're going to say it's false again. So it starts out false by default. If they don't put in their name in the email, it gets set to true. And the form doesn't run. If they do all that, then it's false, right? And then we're just going to console.log our state form, our form state up here. So I think that might be all we need to do. Oh, one other thing. We can put it in here. I guess we'll put it up here. I'm going to open a JSS expression, which is 2 curly braces, and I'm going to use a ternary operator here. So if there is an error, so if error is true, then I'm going to say, please put a name and email. Else, I'm going to say nothing. It's just going to be empty. Nothing's, because they've done it, so we don't need to tell them anything, right? So that's that. Actually, let me clip this, cut. I'm going to do a P the p tag, and I'm going to put it in there just so we can see it a little easier. I think this might work. Password is assigned a value but never used. Really? Oh, here. All right, fine. So we could say, so you could say, or password is equal to zero to nothing. Right? So if any one of those three things is left empty, then it will fail. So let's reload. So let's try our thing. Please put your name and email, right? So let's put a name and email at v dot, I'm sorry, at gmail.com, password, I'll just, whatever. And there we go. And see how it gives us, so our state is this. Our form state is now changed to this object, or actually an array with an object in it, and it has three key value pairs: email, name, and password. Okay, and that's really it. So guys, so we're storing. So the big difference between my last video, which is fine if you want to do it that way. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you have more state to more uh, lines and more state to worry about, right? This one, you're putting it all in one, and that's a little bit more the advanced version of this, okay? And you're creating this to get them all, right? Otherwise, you got to come in here and instead of input, if you'll see my last video, you kind of do a callback function and then you do set name. Oh geez, set name. Well, you watch the other video. Set name. Oh my God, I don't know why it fucking does that. Sorry guys. Set name. Some setting I got in there. Anyway, and then e dot target dot value. So, and that's fine. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is just a little cleaner and a little bit nicer, I think. And I believe that's it, guys. So just a little bit sharper, a little bit more efficient way of doing things. Let's try it one more time. Dave at gmail.com. Password is this. And there we go. And this is this is what you would submit via Axios or whatever you're going to use. And then you would pluck out these. You could also pluck them out using, excuse me, destructuring, which I did. Where the heck did I do that? Oh, right here. So const, and then you pull it out from the state. These three things, right? Otherwise, in here it would say form.name, form.name, or form.email, form.password. Actually, let's see if that still works. It should. Yeah. Right. Let's see. Walter. Walter at gmail.com. Password. Yeah, it still works. So it just makes things a little bit easier. And destructuring is a good thing to learn. So anyway, listen, guys, that's it. Pretty easy. Give this a try, play around with it, get comfortable with it. It's a very common thing to submit forms via React. Now, of course, if you're going to submit it to a database or an API, you need something else, usually Axios, but there's a bunch of different things you can use. I actually have a video showing you with Axios, so if you want to subscribe, and take a look at some of those other videos that I've done, I would certainly appreciate that. And I hope that you get something out of this. I hope that you're able to just pick up a little detail that maybe you didn't know before. I'm not claiming to have all the answers. I know there's plenty of other uh, uh, web dev channels out there that do coding tutorials and stuff, and I watch a lot of them, as many as I can. But hopefully you just pick up a little detail. Maybe I do something just slightly different than somebody else that you didn't realize, and you can get that. And if that's the case, then I am all for it. So anyway, guys, like, subscribe, comment if you have a question, and that's it. Love you guys. Take care. I'll see you.